Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
So this is a new take, a new style we're going to try out.
Yeah, so we wanted to do kind of like, we've seen a lot of podcasts out there right now, and we don't have the setup or the ability to do that.
We don't have the equipment, no.
What we thought was we'd do kind of a podcast style of a video where we just talk to each other.
More casually.
Yeah, and just give you an insight into
raw.
Us. Yeah, exactly. So I think that'd be cool. And what better topic to do than an actual updated infertility story, because we haven't done one. I look back and it's been 2 years since we've done an infertility story. So we've got our mugs, we've got tea.
They're empty, and this one's kind of dirty, which is weird. But anyway.
No. Are you serious?
That's okay.
Well, it's just coffee stains.
Maybe it's stained. Yeah, anyway, I'll manage.
But yeah, so we're gonna get started, I guess. So we have our trusty little like timeline. Yes, it fills 2 pages, so I might like look at that a few times.
It is all up here, but it's like,
it's
in the back is over here. It's not organized.
Pushed away from our memories a little bit.
Yeah,
we don't
very
think
deep
about it. Well, honestly, I am bad at like remembering dates and facts and stuff, so Caleb is always correcting me.
Ayla knows.
So I told him, be nice about it though, okay?
Yeah.
You can correct me, but like, be nice about it. So we're gonna be...
I know, I sometimes am very...
Because you're so
I like to be so
serious.
specific. I'm like, I know that it was this time and it was this date,
yeah.
So why change those numbers? It's like...
Because I don't know.
It's just like something in my brain which I don't even think about. It's like second nature to me where I will correct, and I feel bad because... it causes arguments in our relationship.
Yeah.
I said it, guys. Like I said, this is going to be a raw video.
We do argue. This is very true. And
we aren't perfect.
It's not like about huge things all the time. It's mostly about that. Like you just, or something I do,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
This is not the topic of the video today.
That's a different video for another time.
Talking about our relationship, maybe we'll do one of these for that.
Well, thank you for pouring the tea.
You're welcome.
I was like holding the cup and I'm like, hey,
it's hot.
my cup's half full.
Yeah. And honestly, it's kind of a warm day to be drinking tea.
Yeah, like I'm already pretty warm, and we had a recipe of tea in there for like cold iced tea.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have maybe done that. It was cold when we started setting up for the video, guys, and the sun came out.
Okay, anyways, should we get started?
Let's get into it.
Okay. So like rewind like a million years, because it feels like, see, he would be like, it's not a million years, Ayla, it's only 5.
Yeah. Just about.
Okay. What I mean is rewind to the beginning, and that was at the very beginning of our marriage, because essentially what you can take out of this whole thing is that our marriage is our infertility story.
Yeah.
They're like,
this is important.
They're the same timeline, and they're just like intertwined. Like you can't really talk about one without the other, and it's always
kind of heartbreaking.
Sad. Yeah, that's always made me sad. But
that's one of the reasons why this journey has been so hard and so tough, and everything that comes with it. Because when you're newly married, you just want to be in some blissful state.
Yeah.
You want to be just enjoying each other.
Not that we weren't.
And we were.
Because we were blissfully unaware.
We were blissfully unaware for, I would say, probably like the first year.
Oh, no. Dude, I knew what was going on. I was unhappy that it didn't happen the moment I stopped birth control. I was like, what is this crap?
Yeah, health
all the
class
high
is
school
wrong,
teachers
guys.
tell you that the second you get off the pill, you're done for. So I was expecting that. Being young, being like healthy and everything.
Yeah.
That was a shock to me. So we were blissfully unaware for like 2-3 months.
You don't look at someone and it happens, guys. It's not like that. That's not how it works.
Some people
say that, but
not us. That's for sure.
So let's get right into it. So
So when were we married?
We were married in June of 2013.
Our wedding, yeah.
Our wedding was June 10th, and we booked our honeymoon for September. We wanted to have a fund at our wedding so that we could actually go on a nice trip.
Yeah, instead of gifts, everybody gave us
honeymoon fund.
Yeah.
So we used that. We booked an awesome trip to Mexico.
12 days.
We were there for 12 wonderful days. We left the resort once, and we just basically read books.
We like slept, hung out by the pool. It was
did all the
so
fun stuff that you
relaxing.
do on honeymoons.
Yeah.
Young honeymooners. Ooh, saucy. And then we started to have a conversation one day. It was a rainy day, still very warm, but rainy day. We just kind of were lounging around in our hotel room.
It was honestly like a movie moment. We were just like lounging in the bed.
I think we maybe rented a movie later that afternoon and just we decided to have a long, deep conversation about our future and what we wanted and what we were like expecting and what our plans were. And of course, wow. Gotta get that out early. And of course, we had already talked about, what we both wanted for our future before we got married. We knew these things. This wasn't like the first talk. Oh, you don't want kids, but you do? Oh, no.
What did we do?
Shoot, annulment. Oh, it's too late. But what we did have a conversation about was, when do we want to start trying for our family? And we talked about it for a long time. I felt like a couple hours of just what would that look like. And me being so specific and logical and detail oriented, I wanted to know like the finances of it. Could we do it? We were both in school at the time.
And I'm like, I lead by my heart. So I'm like, yeah, but I want to be a mom.
Yeah, but like, this is how I feel.
I want to be
and I'm like,
mom.
This is what I think.
Yeah, that's very much us. So essentially we ended up coming to the conclusion, or I won him over, I don't know which way you want to see it, but we decided that when we got home from the honeymoon, we were going to then start to try, because we said, our lives, like we both had this vision of our lives being young parents. That was always something that we really honestly wanted, like even before we knew each other. Well, not before we knew each other, because that was like 11 years old, but before we were in a relationship together. So that was very like seamless. That made sense to us. And we decided that we are very resourceful and smart people and we'll figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
So we made that decision. So when we got home from the honeymoon, it was so exciting because it was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. Like we could be parents so soon. And so stopped the birth control pill and just kind of started like any normal person would, and it was fun. Like, of course, it was super fun.
First couple months, just casual, normal,
like
anyone does when they decide at that moment that this is what they want.
And it's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, how it should be.
About having intimate moments with your partner and stuff. And so...
Probably, what would you say, after 3 months?
Well, like, just knowing me, like...
when did you start tracking your cycle?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I can't remember.
I don't know. But it didn't take very long. Because I was, like, again, I was just kind of, like, thinking... that it would happen. Like, we were young.
I do remember the first few months, and there being a couple months there, and this would have still been early on, so in hindsight now we're like, 3 months in, we shouldn't be expecting too much. Yeah. But I do remember one of the months, like, okay, this is the time, like, I'm ovulating. I think I remember that happening.
Right.
Because we had moved so many times, of trying to, like, match everything up with when we moved,
like,
so that I can have a timeline.
We were in? Yeah.
Yeah, so we were in the first apartment.
Oh. Shoot. Yeah.
Family feud.
Yeah, no, you're right. We were in the first apartment when we were only there. Like, when did we leave that apartment? We've been trying probably
February of 2014.
Okay, yeah. It was when we were in the basement suite that we got the devastating phone call.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so fast forward 3-6 months of trying to us deciding that, you know what, this doesn't seem right. And if you know anything about trying to conceive, doctors will always tell you, wait 1 full year of trying actively trying, before you will seek help from medical doctors and everything.
But if you know anything about me and my life, things just go wrong.
There's a lot of ish going on.
I got a lot of shit. Yeah. And he knows this because he's witnessed it time and time again, but it's kind of like this unwritten rule that like whatever goes wrong is going to go wrong for Ayla. So once it wasn't happening right away, I was like, I don't have a good feeling about this, people. Let's get on this because I'm not about to waste my time. Like, blah, 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 I'm young, blah, blah. I just want to get on it. So we decided we're going to go to the doctor and just get the first, like, little bits out. So
we went to our family doctor.
Yeah, and he was all, well, we usually wait for a year. And I'm like, dude, I get that. But what's the harm in a blood test? What's the harm in an ultrasound? What's the harm? Does nothing, there's no harm.
Yeah, free healthcare, why not? Send it through.
Let's go. So we did that, and this is where things got weird, is that when my stuff came back, like we did the routine things, I'm sure we didn't go into too much depth, but my stuff came back normal.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, you're great,
fine.
You're fine. I was like really relieved. I was like, oh, thank goodness, like that's great. And then
so it's my turn, and of course we don't expect there's going to be anything wrong, which I think there's a common misperception or misconception that it's usually the women's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard. I would use that word.
Whoa.
This isn't me, guys. This is others. This is them.
Yeah. You don't think of the man being
you
the
don't.
cause.
And so, we didn't.
It was just part of routine.
So we went and I had a semen analysis, and then I get asked to go in. And you know how it works with doctors, right? No news is good news. So Ayla was flipping out. She's losing it as soon as we get this news. Oh my God, there's something wrong. Oh. I was on the bus or something.
You weren't home.
No.
I was sitting on the bed, and this was in the basement suite.
It was.
Because I remember the layout.
I remember where I was on the bus, too.
Really? Oh, that's sad. Anyways, I was sitting on the bed, and the phone was ringing, so then I went to sit on the bed. I was like, I knew it was the doctor's office. I was like, shit. I was like, no. I was like, you are not doing this to me. You are not. And so I answer, and I had already known that everything was good with me. So when I answered, I was like, yeah. And he proceeded to tell me, right? He told me then. He told me, the semen analysis came back, and like I needed to come in so we can discuss it.
So we went into... So I didn't have him as my family doctor. I just kind of buddy system doctor. Piggybacked off Ayla. And so we went in and we learned that I had the results were basically that I had very low sperm count.
Yeah.
I had really low motility.
Yeah.
And poor morphology.
0%.
0% of my sperm were
good morphology.
Good. They basically were all like deformed heads and blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it. So all of the categories that you are measured in, I failed them all basically.
Yeah.
And so what they do is, okay, for the next 3 months, you're going to go and do these modified things. So you're going to wear boxers. You're not going to go in hot tubs. You're not going to use heated car seats. You're not going to have laptops on your lap.
No caffeine.
No caffeine, no pop, no soda, whatever.
Yeah.
And so do that for 3 months because, in case you didn't know, it does take 3 months for sperm to regenerate. Mm-hmm. And so you have to do those habits for a minimum of 3 months in order to see any difference. So then I go in for another semen analysis after that point.
We were even on supplements for you too.
Even supplements we tried. Mm-hmm. And so, nothing. Basically, I think my test even was worse. like my count was lower or something.
Right, yeah.
I went from 3 million down to 2 million. I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I can't even remember the numbers or what they mean.
That feels like a lifetime
That's a lifetime ago. Nonetheless, he referred us right away to the fertility clinic here in Calgary.
Which takes time.
That usually is a 4 to 6 month wait list just to have your initial consultation. So
I'm crossing my legs. It's very unladylike because I'm in a dress. I'm sorry,
no one
guys.
could have even known because they can't see
but they
from
can
the
see
table
my
down.
knee.
So you could have been away. No one would have known.
I just have to admit it.
Yeah.
Anyways, go
on.
So sorry.
Honest.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. So what we did was we waited. And this was terrible for us. We hate waiting. But although we're very patient people, but we're also very impatient people, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We can do the wait, we just don't want to.
We just don't like it.
And so, January 2015, fast forward, we are now in
first appointment.
For our first appointment.
Yeah.
Which was about 4 months. So we were on the shorter end of the 4 to 6 months, so we were very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in, and basically we were told, don't do IUI, we're going to put you straight through to IVF with ICSI, because with his sperm quality, it's just not worth it with IUI, it's just not going to ever happen.
Yeah, so how old were we at this point?
Oh, man, we should have talked about this before, because now I have to do the math. Okay,
I thought you would just know, I thought it was just in your knowledge.
That's a long time now, so that would have been 2015, just 3 years ago? No, 3.5. So we were 21, both 21.
Yeah.
You were 20 and I was 21.
Okay, so at 21, he was still in university. I was switching from uni to, I changed my major and I was doing all kinds of switching around. But you can imagine, what that's like for a young married couple who's just wait,
I'm sure you can all, if you've been through infertility, you can remember that experience walking into the clinic for the first time and just, how terrible it feels. And, everyone is just in their own little space, embarrassed, no eye contact, or awkward enough they all stare at you as you walk in.
Oh, I felt eyes on me a million times.
Especially being young.
Yeah.
They're what? Anyway, so we talk with him. He tells us, you're going to go straight through to IVF with ICSI, and
we'll do tests and
everything, and we'll send you for another semen analysis, but I am guaranteed, we're going to be able to get a baby.
He didn't say Did he say that?
I don't know if he used the word
said,
guarantee, but he basically provided enough assurance that he would do
we felt
what it
confident.
took and he could get us.
We felt like if we could manage to get the money and figure out how in the world we were going to make it happen and do it, that we would get a baby out of it. Like, that's what we felt. That's our own naive.
I think he also
everything.
didn't manage expectations very well.
Well, like, a young couple comes in, all there is the, the semen thing, and then it just kind of seems like, oh yeah, this could be simple enough.
And when he says that, maybe it would have taken 12 IVF cycles, right?
And he would have
been right because he got us a baby. We just would have never made it through that financially. Yeah. So of course, it's going to cost $13,000. Okay, how are we going to do this? Because we're students and we work part-time jobs, and wow. So we
figured it out, though.
We figured it out.
So we applied to a grant.
We got lucky with that.
Which was awesome. I've given this information to so many people. Like, look at the options around you just in case, you never know. Because we didn't know about this until it was time, right? We applied for a grant. We were granted $5,000, and when that letter came in, no, 5.
No, 6.
No, 5. Babe, it was 5.
I believe it was 6.
It was 5.
Agree to disagree.
It was 5. Are you kidding me? It was 5. But when I opened the letter, I remember dropping to the ground on the kitchen floor and just crying. We were in our condo at that point.
Just like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, I was like, you were there.
I was there watching sack of potatoes. That's what I mean. Like, I can remember it.
Okay. Anyways, so we had some help. Like, we had some help. We did a GoFundMe. We had help from family.
Parents.
It was really incredible to see everybody, like, help us out. So, fast forward, because holy details were going on.
We'll try to spare some of the details.
Yeah.
Some of the important ones we'll leave in for you. So basically,
did our first IVF.
Did our cycle. What were the results?
Well, we did that in June 2015.
June of 2015. So from January to June. So in roughly 6 months, we collected the money, did what we could, got ready.
Yeah. So we did our cycle. Went into it so hopeful, thinking, of course, it's going to work, duh. And left absolutely heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. So it, kind of a synopsis of the cycle. We did IVF with ICSI. We collected a good amount of eggs. That seemed really good. It was at fertilization that was the problem.
Yeah, do you remember how many eggs were collected? I think like 18. Yeah.
Oh, we got it. I think it was 18. So they just weren't fertilizing properly and they weren't developing properly.
No.
So what ended up happening is we had 2 3-day blasts. Well, not even blasts. They were just, I don't even know how to describe it.
3-day somethings.
They were poor quality, and
very poor.
I'm in the middle of an ultrasound, and the lady comes in telling me that things aren't looking that great, and I'm literally naked from the booty down, and I'm starting to cry because I'm like, what do you mean? And then she sends me out to the room with the embryologist to talk about poor quality, and I'm
and
just
how we're coming back in the afternoon to do a 3-day transfer.
Yeah, because otherwise there's no reason. So
it was literally, we're just going to do a transfer because we're at this point and you don't have OHSS, and why wouldn't we just use them? Because they're not going to survive the freezing.
So we transferred the 2 3 days. None left for freezing, of course, and then after the 2 weeks or whatever, we got the big fat negative. And that was when I think reality hit. Yeah. That was the most real moment of my whole infertility journey.
That compared was the to most even difficult.
Even being told that we had infertility wasn't as big of a deal, because I'm always like, okay, well, we can handle this, we can deal with this. But to have your hopes so high to going down to the ground was just too much for me.
It was devastating.
I think I got depressed. Like, I was just really ruined by it, and then to be depleted of all your money.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you don't have any frozen embryos left over, which means you are back to square one. You have $0 left, and you had all of that money, and it was for nothing.
Yeah, and we weren't any closer to understanding why, or
and they still had no answers for us.
Yeah, they were surprised that things didn't go well, and so we were just kind of.
So then he starts to think maybe it could be your egg.
No, he didn't.
Not even at that point.
We thought it was the sperm quality was taking the embryos down.
Right.
That's when.
So that's when we decided we were going to pursue sperm donor. Now, this is before I get into that. One thing about us is that we believe that in order to succeed and to improve on things, you don't do the same thing over and over again. You find a way to do it better. You find a new way to go, and you don't get stuck in your own path. And that's what works for us. Yeah. Maybe different for you, and that's fine. Whatever works. Essentially, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So, needless to say, we moved forward with sperm donor. We thought, okay, let's rule out. And it wasn't an easy decision.
Well, this is what the problem was.
Yes.
And so let's see what we can do.
And biology wasn't going to be something that was going to hold us back.
We talked about it
for probably 4 months. 4 or 5 months. Because let's see, we did it in June, and it wasn't until November that we even purchased the sperm. So in that time frame, there's even videos, which we can link, of course. But we did think about it.
And even when we made the decision,
it was still hard.
We would be sitting on the couch, and like I would like pause the TV show, and I'd look at Caleb and I said, "So are you still with that? Like, is your mind still made up with that? Like, what about this? Like, can you see yourself still, being 100% happy and committed after the child's born? Like, what about this? This. We really worked it out. Like, we went hard on the decision.
And the only time that it really, really hit me out of everything one day was when I realized, because I'm an only child, that like my family lineage, my line, it ends with me.
Right.
And so I was like, I remember breaking down. That was the first time I really had a good cry. Over this. And
because you hadn't cried even at all.
I hadn't cried much because as you know, I have a hard time showing my emotions. It's just my personality, but I am a very emotional person. But anyway, that was a big moment, and I think once I got through that, I was able to really know that this was the path we wanted to go on. So we bought a bunch of sperm.
We bought it in bulk.
IUIs, because he said, okay, well now that we have donor sperm, IUI is a possibility. Assuming Ayla still isn't a problem, having super sperm is going to help if she even did have a poorer quality, because it'll hopefully bring it up a little bit when meet.
So we did the 2 IUIs 1 month after the other. I was on Clomid. We tracked cycle, ovulation kits, everything, and that was it was January, around December and January, because I remember taking a pee test at our Christmas party for our preschool kids. I had to go into the bathroom and do it. So I remember that. But we knew that IUIs weren't necessarily as successful.
Right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, it got dark on us. I think there's some clouds, and I just want to make sure you guys could actually see us.
I'm just gonna keep talking. So we knew that IUI success rate isn't as great as IVF maybe was. So I didn't expect the first time to work necessarily. So we did 2 in a row, and then we were gonna do a third, and both of them were negatives. Sorry, obviously. And we were going to do a third. But something got in the way, I guess, which was my emergency surgery.
Yes.
So I woke up one day and was in the most pain of my entire life. And
more than period cramps, more than anything you've ever had.
I was screaming. It was terrible. I felt like I was going to die.
I'm pretty sure I went and picked you up at work. You were working when it happened.
No, I wasn't. I had to work.
Oh, sorry.
I couldn't make it.
Really quickly. This had happened about a month earlier, maybe 2 months earlier. The same feeling, same pain. Right. And I picked you up from work, brought you to ER. They were like, oh, there's nothing going on. They sent us home. Fast forward to this story right now, 2 months later, she's in so much pain, we go to the ER.
Yeah.
So.
The thing was, though, I actually, it was in the morning that the pain started, and I'm just, tough sometimes, and I was like, no,
she has a very high pain tolerance. She's going to do great in labor.
Well, I don't know. But I was like, okay, I'm going to wait it out. I'm just going to lay here in the bed and, deal with this pain, and it'll go away. And so Caleb went to work the whole day, and I'm just laying there, rocking back and forth, just sweating and crying and, everything. So when he gets home, I'm like, dude, it's not going away. We have to go to the ER. This isn't going to work. So we go, and I actually get admitted. And then after, all night, being on the morphine in the chair and, Caleb sleeping awkwardly on a chair and whatever, we did ultrasounds and stuff like that and some tests, and found out that my appendix was being on the verge of rupturing. So they needed to do...
Basically, a cyst had ruptured, and that fluid was infecting and inflaming your appendix.
Yeah, so they needed to do emergency surgery. So that was my very first time like having surgery. Like I had surgery once when I was like a kid, and it was just tonsils and stuff. But this was like a big deal. I was like terrified. And then we do it, and you know I get back out, and I'm in a lot of pain still like drugged up and everything. And the doctor comes in telling me like the worst news ever. And tells me they found endometriosis and that my ovary is completely ruined and that I'll most likely have to have it taken out.
And of course, because she hadn't signed anything before, they couldn't do it during.
Yeah.
And I have no like power of attorney to be able to say, yeah, go in and take it out. And even if I did, I think that Ayla would have been like
to me first.
Killing me as soon as she came out of being under.
Yeah. So that was one of the hardest days of my life that.
It was, yeah, that was tough. And
this
was a week before we were supposed to be going on a big trip for my graduation that my parents were taking us on to Mexico.
Yeah.
So
anyways.
Oh, that's another reason why you had stopped the IUI too, is because we were going where Zika was present.
Right. So I just essentially recovered at home, dealt with that news, cried my face off every day.
And prepared to have the surgery.
Because I knew that I needed to. It was the next step.
And now we were moving. And we moved into our fourth house since the story started.
This house.
Fourth place.
Yeah.
And this place we're in now. And of course,
and then,
2 days later, the Monday. We moved in on the Saturday, and the Monday you went for surgery.
Yeah. And it was our anniversary too.
Yeah.
So then I go in for the surgery to remove my right ovary and fallopian tube. And that was emotional. That was really hard. And it was hard too because we had spent so much time in this journey thinking that I was okay. Like everybody told me, you're okay, like you're healthy, you're fine, you're young, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I had something really serious going on and something that affected me to the point where I had to remove my ovary because it wasn't functional anymore. Like that's terrible.
That's intense.
Like, and it just upsets me a lot thinking back that like, I wish we could have figured it out.
Well, it's also really terrible and upsetting that there's no better science right now to determine or diagnose that a woman has endometriosis without cutting them open and putting a camera inside.
Yeah. Well, there's just not even, like, a lot of doctors just don't understand.
You just got to know the signs, and you got to know yourself, and then also advocate for yourself. And I know Ayla talks about this, and she's the one to talk about this. But just really pushing with your doctor. If you think something's wrong, do what you can, like, day in.
Yeah.
And don't let them tell you no if you think that there's something going on.
Yeah, that's true.
So we got that dealt with, and while we were preparing for that, which I think the surgery was June. Yeah, it would have been June. So our plan leading up to it was, okay, we'll suppress it, we'll get your body ready, we'll do an IVF cycle immediately after.
I was on 4 months of suppression. 3 months was Zoladex, and then 1 month was Lupron.
And then the surgery.
Oh, baby. Those drugs are something else.
Put you into a menopausal state.
And I had hot flashes. I would sit in front of the fan all night long because I couldn't.
Yeah, and then you'd be grabbing all the blankets.
Yeah, it was terrible. But whatever, it's fine. And then we talked with our doctor and our RE, and we wanted to take advantage of this time because we knew that we were going to be suppressing me for so long, because we were going to be taking out the endo with the ovary and everything, that I would be fresh and ready to go. And it was like, what better time to do an IVF cycle than now when I'm like...
It's like resetting your whole system.
Exactly.
Clean slate.
That was what we decided to do.
So end of August?
Yeah, it was August. Once I recovered from my surgery, started meds, got ready to go for another fresh cycle of IVF. And, it was very similar. By the way, with this cycle, we planned on doing it with my eggs, but we were still using sperm donor.
Yes.
Because we didn't know.
We'd already come to the decision that we were going to rule out using my sperm and my genetics, and we were okay with that, right? And so we thought, well, let's continue, make it the best possible option, the best possible chance. So we did. Yeah. And we did the IVF cycle. Again, it was with XE, wasn't it?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't with XE this time.
This time wasn't. But it was very similar. It was literally the same amount of eggs.
One ovary, yet it picked up the slack that the right ovary would have not had.
I had 18 eggs again. And then fertilization happened, and we had a little bit of hope. And then
Okay, sorry, the camera can only record for so long before we have to start a new clip. So that means chat is going really great.
Yeah, so essentially,
hopefully you're still here.
To hop back in, we did everything the same. You know, I had different meds and like a little bit of a different protocol, but the idea was that the sperm donor and everything was supposed to help. So we didn't have good quality embryos again. They just couldn't, and that was very clear to us. The second they called and told us that, I said, well, then it's my eggs. I said, we've done the sperm donor, you know, and now process of elimination.
Yeah,
it's my eggs.
Even if you can't tell us that, we know that endometriosis can impact the quality of eggs, and so we're just gonna go ahead with thinking that and move forward.
So what we did end up resulting was we had 2 3-day embryos that we transferred on day 3, very similar to the last time, and that was really hard for me because I was like, this is just all over again.
Same situation, so you have nightmares, right?
Yeah, so we transferred those, and then we waited to see what would happen with the other embryos, if they would, you know, last or what. And then it was like it felt like a miracle at the time. I don't know what to call it now.
Yeah.
But 3 embryos at day 6, they decided they were good enough to freeze. So we were like, what? That's amazing. Like, it felt good to have at least a bit more to hold on to, I think.
Yeah.
And like less daunting if that transfer was negative, which it was. It was a big fat negative.
Yeah, and that was, again, heartbreaking and devastating and just a terrible experience to be changing things and going through and being hopeful once again to have your dreams shattered.
Yeah. But we weren't giving up. We were super...
Because we did have 3 embryos that we froze from this cycle. Again, they weren't very good.
No.
But
it meant at least something. So
it was the first time we'd had that. So we thought, okay, well, you know, this is already better than before.
Yeah. So we geared up and got right into the frozen transfer. We did that in November.
Yeah, early
2016.
November.
And we just said, like, let's just do it.
Yep.
The doctor basically gave us really low chances and said...
we transferred all 3.
Yeah.
He said, I don't even know, I'll have to get back to you on some numbers of what the chances of these are because we don't usually transfer 3 in this quality. I think he gave us like 5% chance of a pregnancy.
There was a video about it, so we'd have to look back.
Yeah, it was low, incredibly low. Like, just to put it into perspective, I believe they gave us 63% with this transfer we just did.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot.
Yeah, so it was definitely bleak, but we were like, well, we're not going to not give these embryos a chance. Yeah. So we did the transfer, all 3. And after time, when we got the results back, it was a shock. It was absolute shock. Yeah. We couldn't believe ourselves. We didn't test before. We waited for the call, and she called and said, "You're pregnant." And I just about shit my pants. I was like, girl, that doesn't happen. I can't do that. My body doesn't work. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. You're kidding.
But
this isn't real.
That excitement was kind of short-lived.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, because...
even the beta number was very low.
The beta number was low. I think it was like 50 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was discouraging. But I still did... at that point, I didn't know much about it. So I was just like, well, I'm just taking the fact that you said pregnant. I'm going to run with it, right?
Yeah, I've never had a beta before.
Yeah. And so we went and took a pregnancy test, and it was like the most exciting moment of our lives. We're so happy. And maybe you've seen that video. Maybe that's how you came to our channel, was that video. But you could see the pure elation on our faces. Exactly. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I was so excited.
Even just like the viewers and you guys, like how excited you were for us. And all of it was just so amazing.
Yeah.
And as soon as it happened, like as fast as it happened, it also ended.
Yeah.
And so
we had like
a 48-hour blood test.
Yeah. And then that's when...
Did the numbers go lower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the numbers went lower. And she said, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose this pregnancy. And I was on my lunch break at work, and I just cried.
I was at work, and I ran over, picked Ayla up, brought her home.
I just cried and cried and cried, because to go from so high to so low, like, that's when it's the hardest.
Yeah.
Like, to feel like you're on top of the world to then being brought down to your lowest is just so painful. Like, it's one thing to, like, already know or expect something and then be told the bad news, but, like, I don't know. Anyways, so that was really, really freaking hard. Very hard. But we also took it kind of as a sign that we were meant to go on the next path that we were already starting. Like we had already begun the adoption.
Even before that transfer, I think after that fresh IVF cycle failed, we looked into it. We went and did like a consultation with an agency. And we, as early as December 2016, we went in for our seminar and started that process, started all our paperwork over Christmas.
If you know us, you know we're just like on it. We're just like, Kate, let's freaking get on it. Like we don't need to waste time, we gotta just do it. So even though I want
But it had come time that we realized we just really want to have a family, and our goal is to have a family and to have a baby, and it doesn't matter how that comes to be in our lives. We just want to be parents. And so we started the adoption route. And so we felt like we had given the other options a chance, and it was our time. And so we did that. And meanwhile, we'd also been reached out to by a couple in the U.S. Offering to donate some embryos to us.
So this is all going on at the same time. Like my mind was like, it was a lot.
And I think we waited like probably a month before we even really started the conversation about that, because the frozen transfer of the 3 embryos had just failed. But then we were like, okay, we're going forward with the adoption seminar and getting into that process. Oh, but now there's embryos that are available, and we're just like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? And so
it's very overwhelming.
So we started the adoption. We did all the application, started that, getting ready for a home study.
Which takes a lot.
It does take a lot.
Filling out that paperwork, like you have to go get medical exams. You have to go get police checks.
Fingerprinting.
Yeah, that was scary. I remember being in those.
We're like in the same room where they have criminals.
I was like, oh my gosh.
But when we did bring the application in, she was like, oh, wow, you guys did this really fast.
I was like, I wish I did it faster.
And we could have, honestly. But, so we did that, and then we started the conversation about the embryos that were going to be donated, and started looking into a clinic in the States to go do that. And long story short, some stuff happened with the clinic and the couple, and it ended up being really messy and really complicated, and it just didn't work out.
We did invest a good,
I would say
over 6 months.
6 months into back and forth trying to get things planned, because there's psychology appointments.
I became a patient at the clinic.
Yeah, you were a patient, blood tests, and all this stuff through our clinic with satellite monitoring and all of these details that we had to do. And then the clinic ended up being like, oh, well, they need to wait till a full year after because they had just had a child, a full year till their child.
It's too much to go
before
into.
They would let us. So then the clinic kind of blocked us. It was a mess.
Anyways, so that was a heartbreak in its own. Even though we didn't actually officially start, we had started in our hearts, and it was really hard to
when it finally came down to being no, this isn't happening, it was 3 weeks before we were actually scheduled to be
start
doing
the
medication to start the cycle. And so then a week later, we're like, okay, no more time with this. We were going, and we had been waiting to go on the list with adoption, the wait list, because everything was finalized.
We just had to pay this big chunk of cash to go on the wait list. So we're like, okay, well, let's hold off until we find out the embryo adoption thing. And then when that didn't quite go as we had hoped, we were like, Kate, let's go down to the office. And I went down and I paid, and I was like, yeah, and I was so happy. And she was like, you do know this takes a while, right? And I was like, I know, but I'm just happy. I'm just excited that this is a real option.
Don't try to knock my high.
But she was right.
She was right. So we then went on the list for about a year.
We were on for a year because we went on the list.
We didn't do any treatments. We didn't do anything.
June 2017, we went on the list.
Yeah. And then we were just waiting. So we thought, okay, let's go on a trip. So we ended up finally going on a trip. We went to Hawaii, and we did some stuff for us, and just tried to be a happy couple and just disconnect from all of the crazy world that is infertility and all the shit that happened to us.
But then honestly, that year, from last summer to this summer, besides the behind the scenes of this embryo adoption, but that winter was hard.
It was a hard year.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible, because it was you're just a sitting duck. You aren't doing anything.
You're not doing anything. You're going stir crazy.
And I just felt like I was wasting away, nothing was happening. And I kept telling myself, every day on the list is a day closer. But it just didn't feel like it. It just felt so lonely. And and we weren't allowed to talk about it on the vlog, and it affected the way we were doing our YouTube, which is our passion, and affected everything. And it was just like, it was really hard on me.
Even like 2 weeks into being on the wait list, like I got laid off from my job and had the whole summer like where I was trying to find a new job. Like that, it was a rough time. But also one big thing, and we met some friends in June, and that last year
the only way we got through.
Was 100% better because of them.
Mm-hmm.
They live very close to us.
Shout out to you,
Jesse and Jill, you know who you are. And guys, they were such a difference maker for us over the past year, and we were just like so blessed to have them in our lives, because without them we would have been completely just wrecked and lost.
I agree.
And so they were very good friends, very, very caring people. We love them very much, and so it's meant a lot to have them in our lives. So they came into our lives at just the perfect time.
Yeah. So that was an entire year, like, essentially of waiting and just not doing anything and, like, not having any active role.
Just trying to, like, live a normal, like, year life of two 24-year-olds at the time. And
just, but all that meant was just work, home,
especially because all of our money was invested into this, that we were, left with debt. So we're trying to pay that down, and, like, you couldn't always have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And do fun things or travel or whatever you do when you're young.
We don't have fun, Caleb.
We do have fun, guys. We film videos and we have a lot of fun doing that. YouTube also, and all of the subscribers, sorry to leave you guys out. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
You guys also helped. You helped so much.
Yeah.
Gotta put this finger away.
You're always fingering.
I'm gonna have to vlog with like my hand strapped or taped to my side.
Leave it in the comment down below if you've noticed that about Caleb, his finger pointing in the video. Anyways, we're getting off track.
We're almost done, actually. We're very much near the end.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good things.
Oh.
Some exciting stuff.
Okay, so that's the adoption side of it. But, like, that's the adoption year, but then go back a little bit. And when was it?
November
2017.
So less than a year ago.
Was our very first email from
our couple. Our donor couple.
And it was such a good email. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just, like, I felt connected instantly.
Instantly reading their email was this connection that is, we can't even explain in words to you guys, just this email that we received from them, and how well written it was, how thoughtful it was, how caring, and how just empathetic they were towards our journey.
Yeah.
And
I knew that we were going to have a relationship.
Yeah.
And so in this email, obviously, was the offer to
donate
embryos to us. And, not to sound weird, but we have had this kind of email before, like on a few different occasions, and sometimes it just isn't quite the right fit, or it just doesn't really make sense, or whatever it is. But this one we just knew in our hearts, because we were just like, I feel so empowered by what's happening here already, and we haven't even replied yet.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of thinking. Like, we didn't reply.
We took a couple days just to say we received it. Thank you so much. It meant a lot. Thank you for all your time.
We're thinking about it. We'll email you again.
Yeah, exactly. Just let them know we received it.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it. And the biggest thing for us was that because we had finally felt like we were committing to traditional adoption and everything that was involved in that process, and we thought we were kind of done for now with treatments and that sort of route. So we had a hard time trying to decide what we wanted to do. Yeah. This is a great opportunity.
So this was a hard decision.
Hard.
It was not taken lightly.
It was the hardest decision I think we had to make in a long time.
Yeah, and our friends, Jesse and Jill, who were alongside us a lot of the time, could vouch for it. We spent months.
We even had conversations with them many times.
Mulling over it and just trying to figure out what to do. Because we, like you were saying, we were committed to traditional adoption. We were on the list. We had already paid money for it. Why would we put that to the side? We'll explain why that is in a little bit because of the rules and stuff. But essentially, it was a hard decision, and we felt like everything just made sense. It clicked with this family, and we just really felt like we needed to pursue it. It was like something was calling us to it.
It just felt so right, and nothing has ever felt so right in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing ever feels right.
So that's the way I can say it.
And it was so right.
It was so right.
So we began that process with them, and it was kind of like post-traumatic stress disorder going through the steps again. I was just like a nervous
all the bad
wreck
memories
because doing that like a year before or whatever, and then having things not go well was really hard. So then starting that process again and be like, okay, well, you have to do the psych consult again, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't wanna. But the thing was, is this couple just really did a lot to ease our minds and really like worked really hard to show us that, you know, they were committed to this and that they were happy to be involved with us and stuff. So it went really smooth, but it took time. Like these things take a lot of time. So we, you know, did all of the process, became patients at the clinic, did the lawyer stuff. The legal stuff was something new for us that we hadn't quite gotten to yet. So that was kind of a different like thing, was learning how that whole works and hiring the lawyer and, you know, making up the agreement. But we were good at it. We worked really well together, all of us. And this is all like behind the scenes stuff that you probably don't know about, but yeah, it was a lot of work. And then you guys saw, we finalized the agreement and
came up with a date to do the transfer. And one of the big things too is like we were so excited to be going to like a new clinic and getting to try it with a new doctor and a different process, like a different protocol.
Yeah, we could have brought the embryos here and done it here. I mean, that's its own cost, shipping and stuff, because it's you're transferring matter. But our decision was to try something new and to give it a shot that way. So we did, and we're excited about that. And we got to do our transfer in July, last month, July 2018. And we traveled to Victoria, British Columbia to do it. We stayed with the donor family the whole time. We became really great friends.
We hung out with their kids that they have.
And love them to death. Like, I literally miss them all the time.
We basically built upon the foundation that we had already started with them over phone calls and Skype calls, or, you know, all of that leading up to it. And then just continued to build on that in person. And it was just such a great time.
Yeah.
And everything was just going so well. Everything about them, everything about the clinic there in Victoria. It just was all positive and all leading up to the transfer.
And we had never had that before.
No.
We never felt
even having our own personal nurse to look after our transfer and our
transfer
cycle.
Day was so good.
Yeah, and the doctors were friendly.
Really well. It was a good experience. And so that, I think, just brought us into this state of just peace, and we just knew in our hearts that this was going to be successful, and we were just really excited about that. So we did the transfer, as you guys know. A lot of you have probably seen those videos, and then fast forward the 2-week wait, and we did not wait until the phone call, until the beta.
We were planning on it.
Because I just knew, you guys. I literally knew in my heart that I was pregnant. So I said, why the heck would I wait? Let's just celebrate now. Let's go. So we took the test.
We caved, and it was the best caving ever.
Yeah, that was one strong freaking positive. That was amazing.
And just to be sure, we waited a couple more days, did another one, even stronger, and then had that actual beta HCG test.
Be a nice, good number. Yeah.
Even better. And then everything since has been amazing.
Well, no.
Okay, sorry. It has been amazing. It has not come without its struggles and some bumps along the way that have led us into a new area that we've never been in before, since we're so used to infertility and everything.
Now we're pregnant after infertility, and it's a whole new set of worries.
Yeah, there's scary things happening that we are just new to, and maybe it's not a big deal, maybe it is a big deal. We're just learning as we go.
Yeah, but you're right. It has been amazing, because it has been the most genuinely happy I've ever felt. I just feel so good about it, and it's just amazing to think that we're on this journey. Finally. So I know you're not counting. Maybe you are, but from the beginning of our journey to now, September 2013, and then now we're August 2018.
So almost 5 years since we've started.
And it has been a journey, you guys. It has been a journey. And everything that we just said, it encompasses the journey, but it doesn't necessarily give you the full story, because there are just so many emotions that go into every single decision.
And not everything is on our channel is on the videos. A lot of it is. A lot of the raw emotions are here.
We do share a lot.
And if you care to go back and watch any of those videos, please feel free. There's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
But it's been tough, and we've been doing this channel. We've been vlogging since
the first
documenting our journey since May of 2015 when we first got ready for our June transfer. And so it's been amazing to have you guys support us throughout this. I think the biggest reason why we are where we are now is because we've had the support of all of our followers.
And the ability to vent and the ability to
receive input.
Yeah,
just
it's been incredible.
Even today, like, we'll post a video tomorrow and we'll receive feedback on something that we're worried about, and 700 people, I'm exaggerating, will be like, oh, I went through that at the exact same time as you, and this is what I had. And yeah, I don't exaggerate. Yeah, what am I doing? So like 7 people will comment. Anyway, it's so uplifting to hear stories that make you feel more reassured, or just to know that things can be okay.
Yeah, and like it's a community. Like infertility is so lonely. Like it just feels like nobody understands you, nobody cares.
Everyone feels ashamed.
Yeah, and people don't understand.
They don't understand
how
treatment.
To talk
it's
to
all
you.
taboo.
Yeah,
it's really sad, and
it's hard.
It's a very sad community, like, to be a part of. But if you're actually involved in the community,
it's uplifting. It's powerful. Like, we are freaking warriors. Like, we are incredible people, and we deserve the world. Okay. You deserve the world. And I'm just saying that because, like, I don't know. Like, we can measure this journey by years. We can measure it by how many IVF transfers have you done. You can measure it by all of that stuff, but that doesn't really truly explain what it was like. And just because we're pregnant right now, like we're 8 weeks today, it doesn't mean that I've forgotten it. Like, it still
doesn't mean that we won't
inside.
Deal with it when we want to have our next child.
Yeah.
It's a rough journey, but if you have friends and family and people out there that can support you, lean on them, do whatever you can to talk with them, because it can be that much better just by sharing. Yeah. Don't feel like you have to keep it inside.
Exactly. So that's basically our journey.
That's our journey. We aren't, just to answer the question, we are not currently on the adoption list, because when you do become pregnant, you do have to come off that list. So currently, go on hold? We are on hold, and you have to wait actually until the child you birth is then a year old before you can go back on the list.
And then you go to the bottom.
Yeah, so you restart. So basically all the progress that we had made on the list, which is one of the reasons why we were back and forth between the embryo adoption and the traditional adoption. Yeah. Of course, we're very happy with our decision, and we will go back to adoption. We don't know when that will be. We're still with our same agency. We are with them indefinitely. There's nothing like we're going to get kicked off. We're just on hold.
We'll just have to pay a good chunk of money.
There'll be some more fees that we'll have to kind of pay again, which is too bad, but that's nothing in compared to what we're getting to experience right now. And we still have frozen embryos remaining too, so...
Yeah, 2 of our donor embryos.
We'll probably still go that route. But anyway, that's a conversation for another year, another time. And
we're just going to focus on the baby in my belly right now.
You guys, I hope you enjoyed the style. That was our infertility story from the very bitter beginning.
I feel like it was kind of fun because it was like we were just chatting with you at like coffee.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like...
Yeah, like... I am picturing this tripod with this camera and this mic as like a physical human being just sitting there. But... 25,000 of you right there. Yeah. And just, like, I don't even know if we talked about that. Like, thank you so much for all of you who have joined our family in the past 3-4 weeks. Like, it's been incredible.
This might be another podcast style thing, but like YouTube as our like dream and like everything that, this is just way off topic. So
we have so many things. Guys, please comment down below if you enjoyed this style. Please let us know if you have any ideas for future videos like this. We would love to hear them. We will write them down, and we will one day cover them, because I had a lot of fun doing this. Maybe eventually we'll even get proper podcast mics. I want to do a podcast. Like, I feel like infertility podcasts would be really important. I know there's some out there. I can't think of any of the names of them right now.
There is one. Some like friends, some fellow YouTubers. Sarah Loves Peter is one that I've done a video with before. She has a podcast called Infertility Mafia, I think. Okay,
so we'll link that
it down below if you want to check them out. But yeah, I guess that's it. And I had fun with you because it's like we got to talk to each other.
Yeah.
For like a
and
good hour and a half. And no phones. Haha.
Yeah, Ayla didn't bring her phone for once.
It's always you. It's
throwing you under that bus.
It's always you. Anyways.
Guys, this has been a good time. I enjoyed this. It was nice.
Yeah. So let us know if you made it to the end too. If you did, you rock. Like, you really rock. And leave a comment down below. What should they leave down below so that we know they made it to the end?
Ellie got a new bed.
Ellie got a new bed.
I just looked at her in her new bed, so that's why.
She's been hanging out with us.
So
anyways, we can't end this for some reasons. Like, we want to keep talking. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. We love you so much, and we appreciate you every single day. Ready?
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
You have to drink.
I didn't want to drink. It's all the crumblies from the loose tea.
Okay, bye, guys.
I need some more tea.